Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Andrew O'Brien, and I'm the Senior Sales Executive with Iron Mountain here in Ottawa. I thank you very much for your time today. We're going to talk a little bit about your current records management program today, and a little bit about what we've seen in the industry. Iron Mountain, being around for more than 60 years with over 4,000 clients, has seen a real variance in different records management programs. So we're going to talk a little bit about today of some of the main things that we see consistently. So the feedback we've received is there's typically three groups of folks that you're typically dealing with when it comes to records management. They are, and I apologize for my drawing, your internal leaders, your external customers, and the painful guys typically are your auditors. They are always looking for something. So you and the records management group have to respond to the various requests that these folks give. Can everybody give me a sense on some of the things that you might expect from each of these folks? Okay, so let's use for these folks, contracts is a great example. So they want a contract. The external folks, a bill of sale, they need to produce something for their clients, something like that. And then your auditors, well, they can ask for, years or a year or multiple years of financial information, all of it, which again can be challenging. So financial. Okay. So you've got those types of things that are coming into you all the time. So how does that impact you folks as the records managers? Well, all of these things have a time associated with it. You have to be able to provide it back to these folks. So time is always against you. And these are three main groups of folks that are asking for things. There's lots of other stuff coming in as well. So you've always got that as an uphill battle. So you're always seeing that circling or spiraling requirement for records. So what's that mean? What can that mean for you as an organization? So if you can't get the contract in time to your internal leader, that could affect his or her or your job security. And how about the bill for the external client? How could that impact you? Well, that could, if they're not happy with what you're doing, that could mean lost business. And finally, with your auditor, what are you looking at there? Yeah, you're looking at potential fines for non-compliance. Okay, so some pretty significant red lines or impacts to you and your internal and external clients. One of the things we've seen, again, through this practice is typically, if you're non-compliant in your records management, you could be looking at $4 to $6 million more per year in fines than somebody that's compliant or has a really great program. So it's a pretty big impact to the organization. I'll just drop that down here. So, when you're thinking about records management, you're thinking, okay, we're starting to see a decline in paper. Would you agree with that? Okay. Well, the case study that we've looked at actually says that in some instances, in some organizations, and yours I think is true as well, we're actually seeing paper go up. And one of the numbers that we've received through doing internal review is a lot of times up to 20% increase in the amount of paper in your organization. So where does all of that live? And where does it really become difficult? Well, again, based on your organization, it typically is seen and spread out over multiple locations. Okay. So So making it challenging. So you've got 4 locations there. So, you've got paper everywhere. You need to find it. These are things that you're struggling with. Again, these people are asking for it. So how do you find it? How are you getting to these places? Because another thing that we're seeing a lot of is you're trying to do all of this with less. So less resources, less education when it comes to records management in those various locations. So how does that impact your area? Well, if you've got less resources and you're starting to see a decline in people and dollars, you can start to see some of that space go away. So that leaves you with lots of records, limited resources, and limited space. So what we're coming to you with today is to say, okay, listen, if you had the opportunity to gain more space, be able to access your records when you need them, ensure that you have a safe and secure and compliant and defensible program, and be able to manage with confidence, again, having that compliant program and have it well documented. Would that be of interest to you? Okay, great. So let me just give you a couple symbols there. So with Iron Mountain, and that's supposed to be a magnifying glass, you can find it. We have the technologies and the systems to be able to let you see where your records are across your whole organization so that you can support these folks in finding your records. You can keep the records safe. Again, Iron Mountain's facilities and process and people are all trained to manage records management. That's what we do. That's our business. So your information is safe within our walls as well as in our trucks. And finally, compliance. So we have multiple workflows and processes and documentation and reporting guidelines that will allow you to be able to see how your records are being managed, the compliance around destruction, the compliance around activity, all of those types of things to give you a real better handhold on what you're doing there. So all of those things allow you to build out a plan, create a new single location facility called Iron Mountain to manage the records that you have in your facility. Does that make sense to everybody? Does that? Okay. So with all that being said, the main goal here, or the main driver, by partnering with Iron Mountain, and we really want to work with you, is to be able to answer these folks with confidence. Where do we go from here? Are there any other further questions? Thanks very much.